What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some routes from five-star Ohio State commit Brandon INNIS. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it can teach you a few new things about the wide receiver position, and you can pick up some skills to add to your own game. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want some specific workouts to do to improve your press releases, your route running, your hands, check out that very first link in the description below for our 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. It's a 4-week daily schedule with over 100+ wide receiver drills with sets, reps, and rest days to help your skills improve. So check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get started. So now, this first route for Brandon INNIS is a comeback route at the Ohio State camp, I believe, and I want to talk a lot about his pivot step on this break and some of the things that maybe he could do a little bit better on this. So anytime that you guys are running, it comes from a 5-yard hitch to a 15-yard comeback. We always have to be selling what? Always have to be selling fade. So I think that's something that INNIS brings to the table a lot with his routes, a lot with the things that he does. He is constantly selling vertical. So when it comes down to selling vertical, when you get into a route, you have to have good speed and you have to have good stride. So all the way up into this break point, you see how he's running hard. He's not shortening his stride. He's got a good pad level, right? That's the other thing that ties into selling fade. So you cannot raise up, you cannot chop your feet, and you cannot slow down. All of those things get this DB to think that it is a fade. And when we could get this DB running full speed, had his hips and shoulders fully committed upfield, that's how I can get separation. Any wide receiver can, simply because we know where we are going to be breaking and he doesn't. So if we could get him to fully commit to that fade and I know when the break is going to happen, I should have the advantage. It matters how I take care of it at the top of the break. That break point is how you guys get separation. So again, like I said, he's running full speed, running full stride. Now, when you get to that break point, what slows you down on a route like a comeback, and I think INNIS is very, very explosive, right? He's a very explosive wide receiver. He's got a lot of quick twitch, and you see it time and time again with Ohio State wide receivers. Garrett Wilson coming out of the draft this year. I think these two are very, very similar in the way that they run routes, and it, kind of makes you wonder why they're recruiting INNIS, because they're both pretty much the same type of receiver. Very explosive guys, very quick twitch guys. When you watch Garrett Wilson run routes, you see a lot of Brandon INNIS. So when he goes to snap down on this break, you see how violent he is. They call that a trigger step. So anytime that you guys are running a route like, a curl, a hitch, most importantly, a comeback, you need something like a trigger step to kind of bring you to balance, because that's the only way that you're going to slow down full speed. A big difference between, these high-level 5-star wide receivers and a lot of these beginner wide receivers is at this break point, they don't have that. They don't have that explosive snap of their hips to where they're able to decelerate, because that's the only way that you can decelerate running full speed, is having that violent drop of your hips. It's like a ship is going along and it drops an anchor, and you stop and you put the brakes on. That's how you want to think of it. A lot of wide receivers have been taught from a very young age to get to this break point and then beat the drum, chop their hands, chop their feet, chatter their feet. That's completely wrong. That wastes so much dang time. And that extra time that you waste at the break point, guess what this DB's trying to do? He's trying to recover, because as soon as he feels you slow down or you break down, he is going to break down. So this eliminates that wasted time and allows you to put the brakes on violently. Now, I think a lot of these high-level wide receivers, the guys that, play at the Ohio States, the Alabama, the Clemsons, they do a lot of the details. You know what I mean? If I'm a wide receiver coach at a university, I'm looking for a wide receiver who can do the little things. I don't want a guy who can just run past people. I want him to be able to emphasize the details. So one of those little details that can help you maybe get out of this break a little bit faster, because like I said, anybody could sell fade, but what do you do at the top of the break? And that's something we call a pivot step. So when he snaps down and he does his trigger, obviously on a comeback route, I like snapping with the inside foot. Personally, that's what I like. So when he snaps, look at his second step of how it pivots. You see how the toe is pointed almost towards the sideline over here. Now, that is how you get your hips and your shoulders out of the break. So when you pivot on that second step, now your hips are turning. That third step can hook back around, and that is your drive leg. So you got snap, pivot, hook, and then drive. Now, does it have to be a perfect 3 steps? No, because you see how INNIS takes an extra 2 right there, extra 2 steps here, and then he's able to run out of the break and accelerate. That's fine. Don't get caught up in the amount of steps. Let's get caught up in how quickly I could drop into the break and how quickly I could get my hips turned. Now, I tell you guys this because this is a very high-level movement. A lot of young wide receivers, they get so caught up in trying to do this pivot, but they do it without the trigger step. You have to have the trigger step and then the pivot step. Because when you guys go up into this comeback route, and let's say you drop, so many wide receivers, what they'll do is they'll start to turn their hip and shoulder out of the break on this comeback before that foot snaps down. Now, what everybody says about that snap down is, oh, that's an ACL. Oh, I'm going to hurt myself. Well, yeah, if you have bad form and you have bad mechanics, you're going to hurt yourself, just like anything else. You have bad form when you're lifting weights, you're going to hurt yourself. So when you snap down, we can't turn my body. That's why that pivot step is super important. A lot of guys try to turn with their body before the feet get down, and that's where injuries, that's where stress on the legs, the joints, everything happens. So I showcase you this, and I explain this route because this shows that he's a very, very high-level route runner. You see a lot of these things from guys that are playing on Sundays. Now, something he can maybe do a little better here is get a little bit lower with his break, and we're going to talk about that in the last clip, but this is a very, very high-level break, and that is how you guys create separation. These are the things, fellas, that college coaches are looking for. Let's play this again full speed. Great job by INNIS, pushing vertical, selling fade, and then having that violent snap to get him out of the break. Okay, so now we're going to talk about here how a lot of these high-level guys, so this is a one-on-one clip from Brandon INNIS at, I believe, a Rivals camp or combine, whatever it might be, and how a lot of the high-level guys don't do the super fancy stuff. So you see it heavily publicized, with 7-on-7, the one-on-ones, all that stuff that, you see the guys coming out, doing all the fancy footwork, doing a million moves at the break, and then, yeah, maybe they broke the DB's ankle, but in a real game, are they really going to use that? Right? And so if I'm a college coach, I want to see guys do things realistically. I want to see if they could get separation in a realistic fashion. And this is a great example of that because I guarantee it when he gets to Ohio State, they're going to have to run routes realistically. So let's play this full speed. So he comes off here, attacks the outside shoulder of the DB, and is able to just one cut and break over the middle. Seems like a pretty simple route, but there's a little bit more to it than you might think. So this DB's lined up inside shade, and he's an off man. Probably smart to do because INNIS is a pretty fast guy, could beat a lot of people deep. He's very explosive. So if I have to run a route like a dig, like a post, anything inside breaking, and I got this DB backpedaling with some cushion, I want to be able to angle my stem and do all the things I need to do with my speed, my stride, my pad level, like on the last example, to get separation. So when he comes off the ball, you see he's attacking the outside shoulder of the DB because we were trying to make him think vertical. We know that if he's inside shade, he's there for a reason. A lot of wide receivers, what they'll do is they try to get super fancy with their stuff. He's inside shade, and they'll try to stem inside. They'll angle their route way inside, try to square up the DB and attack his midline. But a DB who's disciplined, who's inside shade, especially like the DBs INNIS will be facing playing high-level football at Ohio State, they will keep their leverage to the inside. You attack a DB's leverage, he is supposed to keep his leverage. So if he's inside shade and you attack him, he's going to weave to the inside because his sole purpose being an inside leverage is to prevent the inside route. So what you would have to do is you would have to try to threaten him outside to maybe get him to open up, maybe get him to backpedal so we could slip back underneath. That's the only way to get separation on this. If you attack his leverage and he's undisciplined, yeah, maybe it could work. But keep things simple. We have to keep spacing on the route. Because let's say, for example, let's say this is a DB right here, and let's say this is the wide receiver, and he's inside shade. And let's say you have to run on paper, the concept is like a double dig, right? But let's say, for example, yours is at 10, this wide receiver's is at 8. Imagine if you stemmed way to the inside and this DB kept that leverage and then you had to break it off in front of him and you're running right into this other dig from the slot. Spacing matters. Realistic situations matter. So you have to be able to get separation while keeping things realistic because that's what matters in a game. So INNIS goes and attacks the outside shoulder. If you guys can come off the ball, have a good pad level, run hard, run with full stride, that can get that DB to really backpedal. He can want to get out of there. We're making it look like a fade, and if we know how to angle my stem, attack his outside shoulder, and then I could break it off and get out of this thing sharply, I get separation and I could win. So you have to understand, fellas, if you want to play football at a high level, you have to keep your routes simple and have to make them realistic. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time, then we will get to one more route and some things that I feel INNIS could improve on and become even a better route runner than what he is. So this is another comeback route, but this break is a little bit shaky in my opinion. Now he's able to stop on a dime. He's able to sell vertical, right? He's running in full stride. He's running in full speed. His pad level is good. Everything about this route is making this DB bail out of there. But when he puts on the brakes, I want you guys to see something. When he snaps down, I want you to watch where he goes with this pivot step. You see how he's striking the ground heel first. So when you guys are on your heels, where is your weight shifted? It's shifted backwards, right? So that's going to give you a little bit less balance. That's going to make you off balance, kind of slip, kind of drift upfield because we are not putting the brakes on correctly. Now, I showcase this because everybody, a lot of wide receivers will see videos like this of, the 5-star guys, the high-level guys, the high-level recruits, and they'll automatically resort to, oh man, I can never get to that point. Like he's insane. He's got great footwork. He's explosive. I'm never going to get there. There are things just like every other wide receiver that these 5-star high-level guys need to work on. It's just that's part of the position. It's part of the game. There's always ways that you can get better. Even NFL wide receivers have things a part of their game that they need to get better on, right? They're in the right situation. They got to the league. They still can get better. And everybody has those things to work on. So don't think if you can't run a certain route a certain way that you can't eventually learn how to do that. Because again, a lot of young wide receivers have this problem. When they break, when they're running at a high speed, they'll break and they'll be striking the ground on their heels, right? That puts a lot of pressure on your ankles, a lot of pressure on your knee. That makes you off balance. You kind of drift on the break a little bit and drift upfield. But what I can tell you is on this route, he's able to get a ton of separation because he did the 3 phases. He focused on selling fade, he focused on the break point, and he focused on running out of the break, coming back to the ball. Yes, it was a little shaky, but at the end of the day, those are the things that we need to emphasize on every route. Those little details we can always clean up. So just know, fellas, even the best guys in high school, best guys in college, everybody's human. Everybody has things that they need to work on. You just have to make sure that we understand that and can constantly improve. Now, when he snaps down, something that I would tell him, how I would correct this route is when you snap down, I would tell him to think more about bringing your chin to your knee, not so much dropping your butt. So a lot of wide receivers do that. They want to sink their hips. They don't want to snap down. So if I'm running a route and I'm running full speed and I go to break, but my chest is up in the air essentially, and I'm leaning back almost, I'm going to be completely off balance. I'm going to slip. I'm going to drift. When you drop, you want it to be straight down. I use the analogy like you're crushing a soda can. Like you got a soda can, it's empty, and you just press on the top of it. It drops straight down. That's how you want to be when you snap down. We want that chin to go straight to my knee. Because when your chin goes straight to your knee, you're going to be in a balanced position. You cannot be on your heels if your chin is to your knee and your chest is slightly forward. So that's the position we want to shoot for, fellas. That's what's going to get you off your heels and give you a little bit more balance. Showcase this because that's what I would coach him up on this. That could give you a little bit sharpness to the cut, but also something else everybody can work on. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by INNIS, push and fade, doing all the 3 phases, but we can clean up that break point by simply dropping chin to knee and getting off of that heel. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, I really appreciate the feedback. Please let me know if you guys have any video feedback you'd like to see, any videos you'd like to see in the future. We always appreciate it. And again, fellas, if you'd like a 4-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule, everything wide receivers need to do to improve their skills on the field, check out that very first link below. I'll see you guys next time.